Hey guys, Bushcraft 412. Time today to talk about our gun rights and what's going on right now. Now, I put out a couple of videos last week about, fear-mongering after the shooting and, kind of calming down and taking a step back. And now that, kind of the facts are out and everything that's going on is in place, it's definitely become obvious that come this January when the new Congress meets that we're going to be up against gun legislation. So at this point in time, now is the time to start taking action and to try and prevent this and to help us all out as best as we can, and to do so in a very organized and in a fashion that's not going to freak out the anti-gun people. And as I mentioned before in these videos, anti-gun people get freaked out very easy. It scares them when people run around saying, I'm not going to give up my guns, I'm not going to give up 30-round magazines. It really does scare anti-gun people, and there's a way to deal with anti-gun people, and I want to go over just a few tips today in dealing with people. But number two, I'm putting out kind of a call to action out there that if you are not actively involved in this, it's time to get started. And the first steps you should be taking are, number one, finding out who your state senators are. There's 2 senators for each state. Find out who your senators are and how to contact them. I highly recommend sending a letter as opposed to an email or calling, because they do tend to get letters, and I've actually gotten responses in the past from writing our state senators here in New York. So letters have always seemed to be the key to getting the best response out of them. But what you do is up to you, whether you want to send an email or even call and make an appointment and try and meet with your senator face-to-face. Completely up to you, but it's time to go in and start making those appointments and meeting with our elected officials. Likewise, you also want to meet with your congressman or woman. And same thing, look up who they are, find out who they are, find out when they're meeting with their constituents, and go and try and meet them face-to-face. And if you can't meet them face-to-face, send them a letter. And the kind of things you want to talk about in this letter is, number one, you want to identify yourself as a concerned citizen, and that you're concerned about everybody's safety. Not that you're just looking to protect gun rights, because if you come across as, hey, I'm a gun nut and you can't violate my Second Amendment rights, they're going to read about one paragraph of that letter and throw it away. The best way to come across and to keep their interest is to be, and come across is that you are looking at the public safety as a whole. And the best ways to get results when it comes to any elected official is to, number one, identify yourself as a concerned citizen, member of the community. Maybe if you're involved in any groups or volunteering, you could say, hey, I'm a head of a neighborhood watch, or whatever it is maybe you do. If you're a Boy Scout leader, or if you're in the Red Hat Society, who knows, whatever, anything you may be involved in that identifies, that you're an active part of your community is always very helpful. And say you have a lot of concerns about gun safety and the recent, the upcoming issues of gun control, which are, at this point probably sure to hit Congress this winter, and request a meeting. I'd like to meet with you face to face and talk about these issues because, number one, you want them to be able to make educated decisions, and you can identify the fact that you are maybe a lifelong shooter, or NRA, or law enforcement, or military, or whatever your credentials are, and say, I would like to meet with you and help educate you on the topic so you fully understand what you're voting for, because there are inherent flaws in the assault weapons ban and a lot of the laws that come around. And that's how you catch a politician's eye, is that you want to teach them, you want to show them and help make the legislation safer, rather than just, oh, don't vote for it, don't vote for it. And I would maybe put an example. For example, the assault weapon ban only bans cosmetic features, but still allows the use of AR-15s and all that. I'd like to just be able to discuss about assault weapons and the features and educate you so you can make a better decision, and discuss gun rights and public safety and suggestions I may have to help you make a better decision. And as your constituent, I really hope that you listen to me, yada, yada, yada. Great way to get attention from politicians. Because you have to bear in mind, guys, now, your politician is not a gun expert. I guarantee you, your politician, your local senator, your local congressman is not a gun expert. They do not know about the assault weapon ban. They do not know anything other than that the public thinks assault weapons are banned and we need to ban them. So the things you can do is go in and say, hey, this thing bans cosmetic features. It doesn't ban functionality. And why don't we want semi-automatic guns banned? And you can discuss the uses. Yes, these are hunting rifles. AR-15s make great coyote rifles. The AK-47, the 7.62x39 round, is an excellent deer round. Similar in ballistics to the 30-30. And if you go and show them that the 7.62x39 and the 30-30 are ballistically almost identical, it lends credibility to the usefulness of these weapons. And I really think, do your homework, write up notes, and literally what you're doing is preparing a presentation to these people on why these guns are safe, and back up what you say with statistics. Go on the FBI website and look at their crime data and show them, from 94 to 2004, there was no decrease in gun deaths. And that there's less gun deaths in 2010 and 2011 than there was in 94. And mention the fact that assault weapon bans, did not prevent Columbine, did not prevent the DC sniper, that they haven't prevented mass shootings, and that mass shootings occurred every year during the assault weapon ban. And when you bring these things up and say, and your senator, your congressman is going to say, well, how do we make things safer? Well, by closing loopholes, by closing the loopholes in private sales, by closing, things, and any ideas you have. For example, I think that anyone who owns a 30-round magazine should maybe be required to do live fire training. A safety class or something, an additional safety class or something like that. Those are great things that politicians like to hear. They like to hear ideas like this. How to increase the safety. Through extra training, through extra, safety courses or classes, or even, anything. Whatever you guys can come up with that will make the gun world better and safer will help. And to educate our elected officials is the best way to handle this problem. Because, like I said, they're not gun experts. They do not know guns. And a lot of them have probably never fired a gun in their life and are probably terrified of them. Most elected officials think guns are bad, they kill people, and that's that. And it's your job to bring these people around and say, hey, this is not something to be afraid of. That, and bring examples. Cut out paper clippings of people who have locally, maybe saved someone with a firearm or prevented a robbery or something like that, and show the good that they do in the community. Bring articles about competition shooting and youth shooting and things like that, and show that it is completely normal in America for youth to be involved in shooting, and that it's good for them, and that it's an Olympic sport, for crying out loud. It's that time to just barrage these guys with the good. And I'm telling you guys, if you go into a politician and you say, well, I don't want my gun rights taken away because the government's going to be oppressive and this and that, they're not going to listen to you. But when you come in with an organized argument and say, look, this is the crime stats, this is the good it does in the community, and here's how we make it safer. And you say that, and we're all going to have different opinions, guys, and I didn't do this video to force my opinions on you, but, like, for example, I firmly believe that, now, New York State, we don't have a gun show loophole. Anytime you go to a gun show in New York, you have to get checked out through a criminal background check. So there is no loophole here in New York. And I think it's a great thing, and I think it should be something the rest of the country, could follow suit with. So, and if that's something you don't mind, which you shouldn't, I feel every person who owns a gun should go through a background check. Sorry, guys, it's my opinion. If you disagree, that's okay. But and that's one of the things I'm going to be recommending to my senators is that we do this federally. It's worked in New York. Let's bring this federal. That's something that will help affect safety of guns. Another thing is I definitely feel if you want to own high-capacity magazines, that you should definitely be put through more safety classes. You don't need to go through any safety training to own a gun. And granted, most of us know how to handle firearms, and we've handled them since we're kids, but everybody hasn't. Sometimes people just go out and they go to buy a gun, and it's the first gun they've ever owned, and they go out and they buy an AR-15. And that's not the safest choice. And I really think, one way to do this is to maybe required safety training, live fire training. And another thing I would recommend, which I'm going to recommend to my senator, is that it be a law that you have to own a gun safe. Either an all-metal or a full gun safe if you're going to own guns. I'm a very firm believer in that, in protecting your weapons and protecting your weapons from being stolen and from children getting to them. And I'm going to offer that up as something, that they can use to help educate them. And, granted, guys, I'm not pushing this on you and saying you have to agree with me, but those are ways I feel the gun community could be safer. I don't believe in limitations. I don't believe in restrictions. Even though I've lived in an assault weapon banned state since 1994, and we have limited magazines, but we still have mass shootings here in New York. We still have crime. It has not helped one bit. And that's something I'm going to point out in these letters, or if I get to meet with them face to face. But it's not going to be the focus of my presentation. My presentation is actually going to be a very positive, this is the positive of guns, this is how we make them safer argument. And guys, if you're really interested in this and you're serious about this, I will get you copies of my letters so that you can kind of go and tweak them and use them for your own. It's I can get you a Microsoft Word document, email it to you, and just change the names and addresses and any little details in there that you want to change, and use it as a template. So if you are interested in that, just send me a private message and I'll get it over to you, because that's what I fully intend to do. And of course, guys, if you're going to do this, go online and look how to write a business letter, and write it in business letter format. Sign it with your name, address, maybe even a contact phone number. Politicians are not going to take you seriously if you don't include that information. They want to know who they're talking to. They won't read anonymous letters. They won't read all that. You need to appear to be a completely 100% responsible part of the community who is for guns, and that you're there to promote safety and to promote the well-being. And we have to face it, guys, with the world the way it is now, with all these mass shootings and 10,000 people being killed a year in gun violence, we're going to have to concede that some changes need to be made. And I don't want those changes to be gun restriction, gun bans, and gun limitations. I want them to be things that will promote safety. And that's my opinion, and that's how I'm going to push it and get to work on my local senators. But, guys, there isn't much hope here in New York because, of course, one of the senators is Chuck Schumer, who's very, very anti-gun. We have Michael Bloomberg, who's very influential, and he's very, very anti-gun. And my local congressman is brand new. We have a lame duck right now, so I'm not going to bother contacting them. But I have talked to them in the past about gun issues, because actually that congressman's very into that, and so we've talked in the past. But this new one, as soon as he gets in January, I'm going to immediately start sending letters to him requesting to meet, to talk about this, and to help him out, because I want him, when he's voting, I want him to make good decisions. Even though he's a Democrat and I know he's going to vote for gun control, I at least would feel better knowing that he's voted, knowing all the facts, and not just skimming over a 1,500-page bill, and then signing it. So, guys, I really hope this helps. And bear in mind, we are the gun community, and we are the only ones who can prevent this. And our action is necessary right now, because this is something that may go through as early as January. So it's really important. Start writing, start meeting with your elected officials, and request your friends to do the same. People who are enthusiastic about guns. Encourage them to do the same exact thing, and to do this, and to make a wave, but not a bad wave. We don't want to be yelling and screaming and acting like fools. We want to be responsible adults who are saying, this is what's so great about the gun community, and this is why we need these guns. And this is why we're willing, to make them safer, because we want guns to be a part of our lives forever. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I really hope this helped you guys in what you're doing to fight this kind of up-and-coming legislation, which may or may not happen, guys. Don't, freak out and think that the sky is falling. It hasn't even been introduced to Congress yet, so Once again, guys, any questions, private message me. I will be glad to help you come up with letters and use, the templates for my letters for your own. Thanks for watching, guys.